First of all, simplification and elegance. As we build out our capabilities and platforms, we all make choices in life based on how they simplify our life or are they a joy to use. A couple quick examples, the iPhone and the iPod. Everybody uses Apple as the example of elegance here, so this isn't original. But, Apple's the poster child for elegance and just making things work well and be fun to use. My wife wanted an iPod for years, and I resisted and tried to get her to use, open standard MP3 players because Apple's proprietary ways just offended my inner geek. She finally one day went out and just bought an iPod herself, said, I've had enough of this stuff. I got an email at work the next day that said, I'm not making this up. It said, the only way I could love my iPod more is if I gave birth to it myself. So here's how that paradigm is shifting in how we used to and how we need to think about the world of financial services yesterday and tomorrow. So yesterday, where did trust come from? Trust came from authority, right? I have a big building built out of marble, and you walk in and it's cold and it feels authoritative, right? In the new world, the new imperative, it's about shared interests. It's about how are we going to work together, how are we going to understand each other. Loyalty came from locking you in, selling you lots of things and selling you products that made it hard, made you sticky. Sticky means it made you hard to leave me as your provider. The next one maybe is a little controversial. I'm going to tell you SMAs are obsolete. Maybe that's crazy to say. I don't think so. I want to be clear that at Pershing and across the industry, we foresee continuing to support and market SMAs for a long time. But because of everything else that I've just explained about what the future looks like and how technology will change that, the structure of the SMA is obsolete because there's a better way to do it. But there's so much entrenched business, it could take years, maybe decades, before they go away. But the idea of them is obsolete. As an example of that, my first job out of college in the 1980s, I was still using every day at that job an IBM Selectric typewriter, which was long obsolete by the late 1980s, by the way. But we used it for a long time. So just because the technology is obsolete. So that's what technology is all about. And I picked this image here very much on purpose because our industry talks about robo-advisors. That's the buzzword of the day, right? Hopefully you've all heard it. If you're in this room, you probably have. The term robo is a hopelessly narrow construct for what's really going on in the industry, which is really the overall digitization of the entire space and hopefully the improvement of the service and the results that we deliver to the customer. And that's why I picked this image, because I think it actually should be something that we're excited about, not threatened by. And here we're shaking hands with that robo-advisor. We're welcoming that new technology into our world so that we can do a better job delivering what we deliver, which is financial advice, which is guidance, which is coaching for financial behavior. So the financial sales model, obsolete. What do I mean by that? The industry has for years, and I did this in the early 90s, I was a stockbroker, right? And I've always been a good, honest guy. I promise I'm kind of a goody two-shoes. But the mission that I was given, the training that I was given, was very halcyon clear. Sell product, generate commission. There was very little discussion in those days about what's right for the consumer, about what the consumer needs, or even, I'll never forget, as a 24-year-old kid looking at this and going, well, wait a minute, we sell them all this stuff and the statement doesn't say anything about what their performance was. Not only do we not benchmark it, it doesn't even say what it was, right? So that's where the industry was and is so slowly evolving from, but that's what we did, we sold stuff to them. And there are still a lot of advisors, even when they converted over to the new advisory model, the new way of doing business as an RIA, now they're dropping a pie chart on the table and helping the customer pick a few mutual funds, maybe some ETFs, and charging them 100 basis points for that service. So when I give this talk to financial advisors, I tell them, guys, if that's your business, if you're charging people 100 basis points or somewhere in that area for a pie chart and a few mutual funds, you are dead. You're already obsolete, you just don't know it. So the model of selling people product is backwards. A lot of people still doing it, a lot of money being made doing it, but it's backwards, it's obsolete, it's got to change. So if you are the disruptive, if any of you are from financial services firms in here, These are the three things. These are very high level, but here's what these firms need to think about. Financial services firms, I don't mean to be insulting, but are generally not nimble, not flexible of mind, not thinking this way. So they've got to address that culturally. And number one is empowering the client. I talked about it, I've sat in a lot of industry meetings where people pay lip service to how important the client is, you know, but it's buried in some deck, or it's, oh yeah, the client. It's not the way the industry thinks too often now, right? They think about the advisor, they think about the traders. That client has got to come first. That's a big cultural shift, so you've got to start there. Number two is driving collaboration and education. I talked about that co-creation idea. I talked about give the spouse the mouse, all those sorts of capabilities. Is you've got to use technology to set context, to drive good conversations, and to tap into what clients want out of working with a financial advisor, which is that human side. They work with you because they come to trust you and they want your advice and your thoughts and your knowledge about what that's all about. So use technology to drive that and make that feel more relevant to the client, more personalized to them. And then the third one, of course, is this agile mindset. Being flexible about your business models, trying to think outside the box. People are way too close to this generally. So that is just really key. And if you start there and work down from there, you will have more success than if you're coming at it in your current framework.